I sure hope I can present this information better than an actual journalist. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And wow, I woke up this morning to a bomb drop of news. Intellivision has been purchased by Atari. That's something that I never thought I'd actually say out loud. Something that people have speculated on for a while that has just been laughed off because Intellivision was a failing, falling apart mess of a garbage situation company that nobody in their right mind would take a look at. But Atari's been on an acquisition spree over the past couple years, the biggest one being Digital Eclipse, and now Intellivision. But you need to really dive deeper into their press release to see how they worded some things in it because it's fascinating. It genuinely took me by surprise that, one, they bought it, but two, how they're going about this acquisition and why they're doing it. So in this video, we're going to talk about that press release, and we're also going to talk about my personal feelings about the situation. Because to be honest, I'm pretty torn. On one side, I am excited that the Intellivision brand is going to live on and not just wallow and die in bankruptcy and burn in a garbage fire of heap down to hell. But on the other hand, I'm pretty pissed off where these, I gotta be honest, in my humble opinion, people running the company were borderline criminals, are now fleecing the investors and getting away scot-free. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down Atari purchasing Intellivision. And for those who are new to the channel, you might not know how deep my history goes with Intellivision. I'm somebody who invested $10,000 into the prospect of the Intellivision Amico to hopefully someday come to fruition. And it looks like, by all accounts with this press release, that that's not going to happen. In a groundbreaking move that brings together two of the most iconic names in the history of video games, Atari has announced the acquisition of the Intellivision brand and certain games under the Intellivision Entertainment LLC. This merger unites two former old-school rivals from the golden age of gaming, making some serious potential for exciting new opportunities for retro fans and the industry alike. And as I started the video off with, Atari is no stranger to acquisitions. They have been on a rampage, purchasing companies left and right as time has gone on. And this is right up there with Digital Eclipse as far as the big names. They also got Infograms out there and a few others where they just make a bombshell news drop announcement that they are completely changing the dynamic of the entire retro gaming industry by an acquisition. According to the press release, Atari will seek to expand digital and physical distribution of legacy Intellivision games, potentially create new games, and explore brand and licensing opportunities as part of a long-term plan to create value from the Intellivision properties. Now, this is where it gets really interesting on the verbiage of this official press release and how Atari is, yeah, we're buying Intellivision, but the Intellivision Amico thing, that's still going to be operated by Intellivision LLC. That's not really going to be us. So please don't sue us if there's issues with that, because while that is part of Intellivision, it's not what we are taking full control of. It's fascinating. Atari announced today it has purchased the Intellivision brand and certain games from Intellivision Entertainment LLC. Intellivision Entertainment LLC will rebrand and continue its business of developing and distributing the Amico brand game console with a license from Atari to continue to distribute new versions of the Intellivision games on the Amico console. That is a word salad that is very complicated and wordy based off of what I would assume lots of lawyers had their fingers on to make sure they said this right, because they don't want to end up screwed when Sudesh comes knocking for his money back on the horrific deal that Intellivision made back in the day where they had to pay him $100 per every console sold, and they never came forward with the console. And that puts Intellivision at risk of being sued, in addition to all the investors that have put money in good faith into the Intellivision Amico never coming out, alongside a slew of other things you could look at with how this company has handled themselves. But I'll dive further into that in a little bit. Let's finish off this press release. Mike Mika, the studio head at Digital Eclipse, said, Uniting Atari and Intellivision after 45 years ends the longest running console war in history. I mean, if you want to say those 25, 30 plus years of intermittent bankruptcy and rescuing brand names out of dumpster fires, I guess you could say they were competing against each other for 45 plus years. I wouldn't go that far, but alright. Wade Rosen, the chairman and CEO of Atari, said, "This was a very rare opportunity to unite former competitors and bring together fans of Atari, Intellivision, and the golden age of gaming." And good friend of the channel, Phil Adam, the CEO of Intellivision, the guy that should probably be in jail right now, has said, "Atari has been a valuable partner, and we have every confidence that they will be a responsible steward of the storied Intellivision brand." Storied how, Phil? Storied how? Again, we'll get to that. Let me get through this press release, because holy crap. To mark the occasion, new Intellivision t-shirts are available starting today on Atari.com. Because of course, Intellivision apparel is the first thing that comes to mind when Atari purchases them. It's one of the only tangible things you can get from Intellivision, and what they've been pushing for a long time is the merchandise. Alright, I guess you could use this press release as an opportunity to advertise it. And that's basically the press release summed up. It looks to be Atari is purchasing the Intellivision brand to take control, ownership, and run 200 plus video game titles. They don't want a damn thing to do with the Intellivision Amico, and I can't blame them. That thing is a dumpster fire to end all dumpster fires, and a money pit that just keeps burning through cash. As many of you know, I've been involved with the Intellivision Amico project from very close to the start of all of it, where my initial take was, no one needs the Intellivision Amico. This is dumb. It's really stupid. And then Tommy reached out to me, and I ended up meeting with him and playing what I thought was the actual Intellivision Amico. And Tommy filled my brain with all these promises and all this money that they had and everything that was happening. They just needed a little more fuel to get off the launch pad, and Tommy seemed like a trustworthy person. And I trusted him. I took his word for it, and I invested $10,000 into this company because I liked it. I thought it was fun. And still, to this day, I hold true to that. I enjoyed my time playing whatever the hell it was inside that casing of the Intellivision Amico. The games were fun with the controllers and the unique experiences they provided to the end user. That was all real to me. Where it kind of spiraled out of control is when the promises started not happening the way Tommy said they would, and it turned out that most of everything he said was either a flat-out lie or completely bending over backwards to twist the reality of something into his own words so that it would make sense for him in the time being so that he could sell some more investments to people. Like, it was actually pretty genius in a way if you want to look at it from like an evildoer's mindset. And from the gamer perspective of me, I am thrilled because it means that these Intellivision properties aren't just sitting in a glass case to break in case of emergency that never gets broken. Like, this is something that Atari clearly has a plan to do something with. This is something that they are purchasing, acquiring, and want to change with what they're doing. I would imagine most likely these properties would start making their way over to the Atari VCS, but who knows what else they'd want to do with it. If they want to make a standalone plug-and-play console for Intellivision that is one of the few retro consoles that people know about that still doesn't have a full-fledged plug-and-play console version of it, this would be an opportunity to do that. Not to mention with Atari doing the whole Yars Revenge sequel, with Yars Return, an old-school Yars Revenge property, one of my favorite Atari 2600 games out there, where they're bringing it to the next generation of game consoles, breathing new life into these old properties. And maybe Atari looks at the old Intellivision properties as maybe we can do something like that with some of those games and have new life breathed into them with some financial backing from our company and bringing them to modern consoles. That would be another reason why I could see Atari taking some interest in Intellivision's properties. But the thing that keeps sticking with me is the Intellivision Entertainment LLC will rebrand and continue its business of developing and distributing the Amico brand game console with a license from Atari to continue to distribute new versions. Like, this is so absolutely ridiculously wordy that clearly Atari wants nothing at all to do with the Intellivision Amico. So anyone out there who may have been getting their hopes up, like me when I heard Atari was buying Intellivision, oh, maybe the Amico will finally come to fruition. Maybe we'll finally get a console with the backing of Atari. It doesn't look like that. Based off of reading this, it looks like anything but an Intellivision Amico console will be coming to fruition. If anything, I look at this as this is a way for the Amico to quietly fizzle out, die, and just go away. Like, this is the end of the Intellivision Amico, if we are to read this and take it for what it says. Which takes me to the other side of the coin, the other end of the proverbial double-edged sword, of why I was hopeful initially with this purchase from Atari and thinking about the potential prospects from a gamer perspective. It's fantastic. But from someone who invested $10,000 in this and someone who is ingrained in the entire process of Intellivision from basically Jump Street, seeing it come to this point, it kind of feels like it's a get out of jail free card for the people running the company. Basically fleecing investors out of what amounted to be nearly $18 million of Fig and Republic, among a slew of other areas that they were siphoning money from retro enthusiasts with empty promises, which what it amounted to be. There was at some point an attempt to make an Intellivision Amico. I still believe that. I don't think it was set out initially to be a scam from Jump Street. I feel like it kind of turned into that when they realized that they bit off more than they could chew, and they didn't expect to be getting $18+ million from investors, and they were like, oh crap, we actually need to do something now. And it's way more expensive and harder than we thought it ever would be to make a console. It was like too many bells and whistles instead of just getting something out the door. So instead, it feels like I've been left with nothing to show for my investment. And the Intellivision leadership from Tommy Tallarico, Nick Richards, Phil Adam, all the way down, John Alvarado, all of these people turned what could have been a promising endeavor into a complete garbage fire of a mess. In my humble opinion, I feel like their actions along the way, after it never came out and they kept lying about how they were almost there and things were almost happening, it bordered more on criminal than professional. In fact, it was anything but professional if you followed Tommy Tallarico. These people would say and do whatever they could to get to the next day, not necessarily caring about the games or the passion behind them or even the console of the Intellivision Amico. No, at the end of the day, it was just kind of pushing this broken mess of a garbage pile as far as they could, hopeful that at some point, some savior would come in and save the day for them. And I kind of look at this as that. Atari is saving the day. Not to save the Intellivision Amico and make it come to fruition, but save Intellivision, Tommy Tallarico, Phil Adam, John Alvarado, Nick Richards from facing any kind of real backlash, any kind of legal implications of wrongdoing. Because now everyone can point to this as, hey, we dragged the carcass of this Amico all the way to the finish line, and now it's Atari's problem. And Atari's saying, well, not really our problem, because Intellivision's still operating their own thing over there. We just purchased it for the games, and yeah, they'll just kind of fizzle out over there, and everyone will just forget about this whole thing. This, to me, is the ending for the Intellivision Amico. I don't foresee anything more coming out of it, and in a weird way, it kind of puts a shit bow on a shit mess from a shit company. Like, this is the ending I think all of us could, now seeing it in retrospect, could have expected. The acquisition of Intellivision by Atari offers a glimmer of hope for gamers everywhere, but it doesn't erase my disappointment and the anger I feel towards those who mishandled the Amico project. Here's hoping that Atari's stewardship will finally bring some justice to the Intellivision brand and its loyal supporters, but I'm not going to be really holding my breath on that. Yeah, we'll get some Intellivision games out there, we'll find them in different places, maybe compilations again on next-gen systems, things like that, but I wouldn't hold my breath on anything Intellivision Amico related. Maybe we'll get a controller that connects to the Atari VCS and we'll be able to play the Amico games that way. Like, there's a lot of different options now that they have Atari, which is somehow doing well. Like, props to Atari. It's something I didn't expect. They're making it. However they're making it and it's working. So there is some hope that the Intellivision Amico can be revived somewhere down the road. But as far as the Intellivision Amico console itself, this seems like it's the end of the road for it. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, again, check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down the information and my thoughts on this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash,